What if what we call public opinion was just a manufactured narrative that makes it easier to convince people that if their views are different, that there's something wrong with that or there's something wrong with them?
Spending is a tax. As soon as the government spends money, eventually it's a tax. Sometimes we put a direct tax on the people, sometimes we borrow the money, and sometimes we print the money.
Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth.
The Patrick Riggins Show. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Welcome again. This is the Patrick Riggins Show. Here each weekend. Coming to you Saturday afternoons at 4 p.m. Once again, you've made it through 7 days of political paybacks, party infighting, and outright government lies and deceit. You've arrived at the refreshing and cool spring of freedom and liberty, the headwaters of those true original American values. Here, the waters of liberty are not polluted with political parties, turf battles, and the dishonest dealings of Washington, well, and government in general. Here you get logic and reason, untainted by the emotional pleas to, quote, get along. Here we stand on the principles of freedom and liberty. And where is here? It's the Patrick Riggins Show, the premier radio show of the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. And originating in Knoxville, Tennessee, this show is also being broadcast locally here in Knoxville on News Talk 97 WOKI. If it's not being broadcast locally in your area, then, well, you need to get on the stick and call your local radio station and request that it be carried by them. Not only do you get to hear the infallible reasoning via your radio rather than however you get it now. It could be on the internet or on YouTube. But your local radio station will experience an unprecedented rush of advertisers tripping all over themselves to get space during this hour. So, you see, it works on all levels. You get to hear it on your local radio show, and they get to make lots of money. And my voice gets to get out even further. So, starting off the show this week, I'm sure most of you have seen all the hoopla surrounding the funeral of Nelson Mandela. It ranges all over the place, from the fake sign language interpreter to, which was just amazing, that was going on. But it ranges from that to the president and a couple of other leaders. Well, they were acting like it's recess or lunchtime during school. It was easy to forget what was really going on there, or what was supposed to be going on. Hey, real quick, speaking of the president, you could look at those pictures that ran all over the news media and just see that Michelle Obama was thinking just like your mom or dad did when you acted up in a public place. You could just see in her head she was thinking, when I get you home, I'm going to bust your butt, boy. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw those pictures. A bunch of kids acting up, not knowing how to act at a funeral, not paying attention to what's going on. Never been taught to behave in those types of situations. Just immature and not disciplined. I do think it goes a long way in accurately showing the world just what a kind of person he and these other leaders really are. But the parallel story I wanted to hit on was back here in America. And this sheriff in South Carolina who was refusing to lower the flag outside the station to half-staff in honor of Nelson Mandela. My email inbox is just flooded pretty much every week. But this week it had tons of messages on both sides of this issue, and all were asking my opinion on this matter. Instead of trying to answer them all, which is what I strive to do, I thought I would take a little bit of time on the show and hit this issue. First off, whether the sheriff was doing it to grandstand or get some publicity, whatever. It doesn't matter. He has the right idea. Now, stick with me on this. Number one, and straight off the bat, Nelson Mandela isn't an American. He didn't live in America, and he wasn't a citizen. No argument there. But second, and more importantly, we shouldn't be lowering flags to half staff, not officially anyway, in this country for anyone. That's right, no one, citizen or not. Now, if you have a flagpole and you want to fly your flag at half staff for whatever reason, knock yourself out. But we shouldn't be lowering our flags officially for any reason at all. None. Yes, I can hear you screaming at your radio. What about veterans? What about children killed at a school? What about politicians? Nope. No one. Look, our country is founded on everyone being equal. Even states it explicitly in our Declaration of Independence. All men, meaning all humans, are created equal. The problem is, we have so many people in this country who are more than ready, willing, and eager to put others on a pedestal, put rulers over themselves, and you too, whether you like it or not. I don't know why they're so eager to do this. If you ask them, they'll say it's out of respect, but it's not. If I had to make a guess, it's because they want to be part of the cause célèbre, to be participating in whatever is the event of the day or week. See, I'm part of this big event. I'm one of the in crowd. Here's a question for you to consider. How is this person any better than the mother who is working 2 jobs, trying to care for her children, and she gets run over by a drunk driver? You know, it happens more than you know. Happened here in Knoxville just a little while back. And we're saying Mr. Mandela's life is worth more than hers. How about the dad who goes to work every day to a job he hates, but it puts food on the table for his family? It puts clothes and shoes on his kids' feet. It pays for their college. And in between all that, he volunteers at a homeless shelter, trying to make other people's lives better there as well. And he dies from a heart attack. Are we lowering flags for that American citizen? He's certainly deserving of it. Or how about anybody else that dies in this country? Who decides who is important enough to have flags lowered? Well, for one, I just said you can. You can fly your flag at half-staff all you want. But our government shouldn't be picking and choosing people to be more important and thus worthy of having all flags lowered than other people it deems not as important and thus not deserving of having all the flags lowered. Do you see the point I'm making here? We're too eager to climb on board whatever bandwagon is the one to be on this week, and more importantly, let everyone else know we're doing it. These superficial displays of caring and concern that some people find it so necessary to exhibit. I'm part of that. I lowered my flag. I'm wearing this or that ribbon. I covered that very subject last spring on this show, April 21st. I even went back and checked. You can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. Scroll down till you get to the April 21st show. It was during the 3rd segment, and the title is Boston Bombing, the Cause Celeb. That's just how much you'll know when you listen to this show. If you heard that show last spring, then you're already way ahead of 90% of the public in thinking about stuff like this. That's why this show is growing so quickly. It's consistent. It's logical. It's not beholden to any political party. We only tell the truth and fight for the true original American values of freedom and liberty. I say it at the end of the show. We're fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. People ask me, Patrick, what does that mean? It's simple. It means this radio show is fighting to return us to those true original American values of freedom and liberty. America is more than a country. It's a concept. It's freedom and liberty. Do you realize how rare that was until our country came along? This concept of people living free, doing what they want, living how they want with no government interference. Unfortunately, we don't live in America anymore. We live in a country referred to as America, but we don't represent the concept of America. The modern-day United States represents a bastardized version of America, a government-controlled and directed version of freedom and liberty that's nowhere near what the original American freedom and liberty represented. Our founders wouldn't recognize this country today. In fact, they would probably be deemed domestic terrorists because they would be fomenting insurrection against our federal government and probably our state and local governments as well. Our economic system, called capitalism, isn't true capitalism. It's crony capitalism. It's government-controlled capitalism. It rewards those with ties to government. And in return, it pays off the people in government running the system for the benefit of those businesses and people. All right, we're already up on the first break of the big show this week, and we're just getting this train started. When we return, we'll continue moving down the track towards more freedom here on the Patrick Riggins Show and the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network.